Hi, this is Richard White again. Today's fly is a simple sparkle emerger. Emergers often trap a lot of air when they're coming up, and so you want something that gives that same sparkle effect. And so what I've used here is just, you can pretty much any nymph hook you like. This is a slightly longer nymph hook, a Daiichi 1260. For the body and for the thread, I'm using Microglint. Notice it's basically a mylar wrapped thread. Lots of sparkle. You can use it as your main thread for this particular fly. For the shuck and the wing, what I have is some UltraDry yarn. In this case in light dun. So this is sort of a blue wing olive effect on this one. And what I like about the UltraDry yarn is every fiber is hollow with like a cross inside of it, so it floats really well. This will sit in the film almost endlessly. And then for the thorax, what I have is it's a Hare'e Ice Dub in olive, and the nice thing about this is it has the sparkle. It's a little bit of rabbit fur and a little bit of ice dub mixed together. Nice simple fly, and let's demonstrate. So I will take this one out of the vise, put in a fresh hook. I'm going to start a little bit further back than usual with my thread because it's also going to mark where the thorax begins. So, and it's very often useful to use where you start your thread as a marker so you don't end up crowding the eye. And for this, I like to go just slightly around the bend. And this stuff you do have to clip. And then I'm going to come back up to the same starting point, so where the abdomen would meet the thorax. And I've taken out just one of the little hanks of the UltraDry yarn. And I'm just going to lay it on the top of the hook shank with the amount I want, or maybe a little bit more, hanging off the back to represent the shuck. And start binding it down. Now, it does get a little tangled sometimes, so you have to untangle it, but that's fine. And basically go touching turns all the way back. And again, just slightly around the bend, and I'm holding on to the UltraDry yarn just to make sure it stays on top of the shank. Slightly around. Then I come back up. Make sure I have that where I want it. Yeah, it's close enough. And to give me a little more thickness here in the front of the abdomen, I'm going to fold the UltraDry yarn back a little bit and bind it down. That'll allow me to build up more of a taper. And I come forward just to lay down a base, come back. Now I just need my dubbing. And so here, again, from this, I'm taking just the olive. It is handy with this. This can be a little bit slippery, so a little bit of wax. Little dubbing wax on the thread. Just a small bit of olive dubbing just to create the thorax. And this can be a little shaggy because I'm going to brush some of it out to represent legs. Now you could obviously wrap on hackle or something for legs if you like, but I find this works just fine. and it gives it that sort of shaggy, just emerged look quite nicely. So once I've built up the thorax, I'm going to fold over the wing material, the UltraDry yarn. Now, if you want this to be recently emerged, you can leave it up like a loop wing. You can make it quite small, purely your choice. I'm going to leave this one fairly short. Bind it down, and when you first bind it down, you still have the freedom to either pull back by inserting something in or pull forward to bring it down. And I tend to like to spread this out so it's sort of a little bit wider look on the wing on top. Once I'm finished with that, pull back, a couple of turns in front, snip off the excess, and you can get easily four flies out of one hank. Come back over the top. Now here you could either just use the Microglint or put some more dubbing on if you like before finishing the fly. Now you can't get very many turns of a whip finish with this material or it will bind up. So what I tend to do is just lay a little bit of head cement on the thread while holding the thread toward me. That way it doesn't come dribbling at me. Then three turn whip finish is quite sufficient. You can hear it go through. It's a little rough, but it holds beautifully well. Clip the thread. Then I'm just going to pull out some fibers so I get that nice buggy, shaggy look of an emerger. It suggests legs, it suggests pretty much anything you like there. Then on the shuck, you can either leave it as it is, or sometimes what I will do is just give it a little bit of a trim down, so it gets a bit of a taper. And you're done. And these work wonderfully. They don't tend to sink very much because of the UltraDry yarn, and the fish love them. You can do them in any color combination you like. I mean, I have this Microglint in copper colors, in red, which works quite well sometimes, in gold. It comes in a variety of olive shades, greens, blues, browns, yellows, pretty much anything you can imagine. Wonderful stuff to work with. You just can't, when you're doing a whip finish, just don't use more than 3 turns, or you're going to have trouble closing the whip finish. Alternately, you could just use it for the abdomen and then switch to a regular thread. Anyway, so that's my nice, simple emerger, Microglint, basically Microglint and UltraDry yarn. I hope you enjoyed this. I'd appreciate any comments you want to leave. Subscribe if you like. And thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.